Confections. I'm Leslie. I am your host here, and I'm so glad you guys are here. We're going to do another tutorial this morning. This one is for our camping theme that we just started. We're going to go ahead and put some other cake pops together for this collection. This morning I want to focus on a tent with the little teeny tiny toes and they're sticking out. I'm so glad you guys are here. Let's go ahead and just jump right into our tutorial, and we're going to go ahead and again we're going to make this little tent. So we're going to break down the components for the tent. We're going to need the front flaps open. We're going to need actually the canvas part for what looks like the tent, and we're going to show you how to make this triangle spot, this triangle for the tent. Break it down so the manageable pieces, and of course the little toes on the inside. So I have some vanilla pound cake here. I am going to make 2 because the rule in my house is 2 is 1, 1 is none. I think my cookie scoop is on the fritz. Might have to invest in a new one. It's getting to that point. All right. So here is the second one. Go ahead and put this away for the next cake pop for this creation. Have this out of the way. All right, so I'm just gonna smooth out, push it down, kind of knead it in my hands. I don't want any air bubbles in there. Normally I roll ball, but I'm not going to do that today because I really want this, triangle shape for my tent. So I actually have cookie cutters. You guys, I don't know if you've been in the field for Letty's come back from my cake decorating days, but I have these cookie cutters that are like 2 inches in depth, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. It's from an inch. That's about a ½ an inch, 3/4 of an inch to about 2.5 inches in length. I've got one in the middle that I'm going to use. And I'm only going to use half of the diamond. So once I kind of knead out to make sure that there's no air bubbles in there, I'm just going to drop it down inside like so. Now there's several different ways you could do this. You could actually just take your cake pop dough and roll it out like so, and then use your cookie cutter and cut down in there. I just find that it's quicker for me to do it this way, and I can guarantee that there's no real big air bubble or air pockets in there. Now I only want to use half of it, and I really want to focus on making sure that cake pop dough is going to pick up the top corner of our tent. So it would be the top of this. So on both sides I'm just kind of making sure. I'm just pushing it down in there, working on the top part first. And then I'm just going to kind of level out the bottom of it. I'm going to use the back of my palette knife and just kind of create a flat line up against the top. Well, it would be the bottom of the tent, but the top of my cake pop dough in here, and I'm just smoothing out the bottom so it's nice and flat. The rest of it we'll do once we get it out of the cutter, like so. Just flatten it down a little bit. I'm not worried about the level here on the sides until I get it outside of the cutter. All right, I'm going to push it out. It should slide out nicely. Like so, because that's what I want right there, the nice top of the back. And then I'm just going to level it up. Level up the sides by pushing it together. But I want to keep the top of the tent because that's your iconic part. And then I just want to smooth out the bottoms. And I'm not too worried about this because I'm actually going to be putting modeling chocolate over top of it. I want that canvas look. So really all I'm focused on at the moment is this top part. Now once I have that, I'm going to take my lollipop stick. I've got it already dipped in about 1.125 down from the top in white modeling chocolate that creates a barrier between the paper stick and any oils inside of the cake pop dough. So I'm just going to dip the tip of my lollipop stick into that chocolate, and then I'm going to push it in the center just a little bit, and I'm going to spin it clockwise until I feel a catch. There it was, and I'm just going to turn it back just to make sure it's secure in place. I'm going to make sure that my finger marks are out of there. And then I'm just going to take that excess off the bottom. And then I'm just going to leave it sit over here. Get my finger marks off there. And I'll do that second one real quick. All right, so while that chocolate sets up and firms up a little bit inside that cake pop dough, we're going to go ahead and make the elements. All right, the first thing I want to do is make his little feet. So I don't know if you can see here, these little teeny tiny feet. All I'm going to do is use some wet chocolate to make them, and I'm going to put them right here on my parchment paper. I'm just going to make across the top underneath the toes, and then the ball of the foot where the heel is at. I don't know if you can see it. And then I'm going to do one for the other side. And we're going to make a couple of these. All right, so we're just going to let that dry. All right, so let's go ahead and work on the tent. The tent, let's do this part first. Now, it's broken down into 3 sections. I'm going to use the exact same cutter that I used to create the shape to make these triangles. I'm going to cut a piece out, cut it in half. One becomes the back side. The other one will become the flaps in the front. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to do that first, and then we'll come back and create the rectangular piece that will cover the tent. So here I have it. It's just it's probably 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to flatten it out. So I'm just going to cut 2 of these. Rule is 2 is 1, 1 is none. So I'm actually going to cut 3 just in case. So 1, 2, and 3. All right, so I'm going to take my triangles here and find my, let's move this out of the way, give me some room here. I'm going to cut them in half from corner to corner. This becomes the back. So, and this one we're going to cut right in half. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. Now you can use a toothpick or something, but we're going to roll the flap back. I just have this tool. I don't even know what it's called. It's pointed on one end. Well, mine's bent, but it's pointed on one end, and I'm just going to lay it from the point at the top, and I'm just going to use my knife and start that roll back. Just enough so I can get my hands on it. Yep. Roll it further from the top. This is the flap for the front of the tent door, like so. And that's all you have to do right there. Now we have the tent doors done. Our little feet are here. Okay, so let's give our chocolate a good stir. We'll come back to that tent stuff in just a second. Now, because it's not a circle thing, it's not like you can drop it in there and spin it, and I don't have as much chocolate, I'm going to actually pour it on the bottom and spin it to make sure I cover it all the way up to that lollipop stick, and then I'm just going to dip it. And then I'll just let it drip off. All right, I'm just going to wipe that off at the bottom, kind of keep it nice and clean. If there are any air bubbles, make sure you pop it. There's one right there. Otherwise, when the chocolate does cool, it will pop, create a spot of available for oxygen to get to your cake pop dough. You don't want that, because that's where your oils will ooze. All right, let's do that other one. Here we are again. Let's flatten that out. create some straight edges so that we can work with here. I'm just giving myself a straight edge, just right across the bottom. Once we have one straight edge, then we can create a second straight edge. I'm just going to line up where I just cut along an inch mark anywhere on my ruler. Now I have two straight edges. Oops, just stuck my knife right in that chocolate. Now I have two straight edges. I really stuck my knife in there. Let's try that one more time. There we go. All right, so I've got two straight edges. I pulled that chocolate a bit. Now we measure our cake pops. Again, I'm just going to measure the length of our tent, which is 1.5 inches. Okay, and then we're going to measure this way. I'm just going to say 1.5 inches. It's not quite, but almost. Rather have more. So 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches is 3 inches. So let's first cut that one. We're going to line up the edge with my inch mark. 1, 2, 3. Put a tick mark right there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3, put a tick mark right there. Now I'm just going to line those two up, cut right across. All right, so this takes it this way. Now we need to measure how far that one was. I think it was 1.5 inches. It was 1.5 inches. Okay, so now we're going to do it this way and measure 1.5 inches. There's from here to here is 1 inch, and there's the 1/2 inch mark. We'll do the same thing up here. One inch, 1/2 inch. And we'll just cut that off. Save this, that's probably enough to do the other one. All right, now I'm just going to fold it in half so I can find the center. Alrighty. So I'm going to take my tent. The first thing I'm going to do is add my, there's my paintbrush. I'm going to add the triangle in the back. So I'm just going to add some water because it sticks directly to the cake pop. It's not coming off, so it doesn't have to hold its weight away from the cake pop. So I just use water. If it stuck out, and actually had to hold weight, then I would use chocolate to put it on there. But since it's going to lay right flat up against, I'm just going to use water. And I'm just going to put that on there and push it down. And I'm just going to smooth out edges like so. All right, let's do the other side. All right, same thing with this. Just going to add, oh, wait a minute, did I do? Nope, I did the triangle part first, or the rectangle part first, and the doors went last. All right, so the same thing we're going to do here. We're just going to add some water. And then on this side, I'm going to take my tent. I'm going to line it right up against the back. Now I'm just pushing on it, trying to make sure there's no air bubbles underneath there. All right, now we're going to take some more water and right up against that green that I just put on and a little bit on the black, I'm just going to add some water so that I can put our doors on. So when you lay it right up against, it looks like there's a little seam there. I love that. It's so cute. All right, let's do the other one. My hands are getting too hot. I don't want to touch anything because it's melting, but I need to touch it enough that it sticks. All right, there we go. And I'm just going to smooth that down, fix my doors the way I want them to look. Just kind of rolling them. All right, so now we have our tent flaps on there. So now we're going to put our little Tootsies right in here. I want those. I'm just going to put a little drop of water down here on the bottom. There's one. Oops, flip over there. I'm going to angle it so it's like the heels are together and as if he's sleeping or she's sleeping. We used to camp all the time with our kids. We loved it. Just hike to the top of the mountain somewhere and throw a tent. All right, so now the feet are in there. Let me check. Let's pipe another spot on here. It's nice and warm. Pop that in there. Oh, I got pink all over my finger. All right, now let's try this again. One big toe. If I don't shake. I used to have very, very steady hands. The older I get, I'm noticing I don't have as steady as I used to. All right, guys, here we go. Cute, cute, cute tent. It's the first one in the series for the camping theme. I'm pretty excited about it. So you guys can do this. I know you can. I know you can. You guys are so masterful and creative. I know you guys can do this. Have an amazing Tuesday, guys. Be creative. Step outside of your box. We love you. Jack and I love you, and we're so glad that you're with us. So have a great day, guys. We'll see you later.